Madam Deputy Speaker, first of all, thank you. It's a real honor to have had the opportunity both to host the opening dinner for this conference and then to give a few concluding remarks. And I would just point out that, first of all, between the hosting of this, the Youth Olympics in July, and the upcoming Silk Road Forum in October, that Georgia and Tbilisi have really shown that they're at the top of the list in terms of hosting high-quality international events. So congratulations to you. And I'd like also to acknowledge the leadership of Speaker Usupashvili, who we know has been one of the driving forces behind Georgia's commitment to parliamentary openness and who has worked to ensure that this event would be held in Tbilisi. I also want to acknowledge the members of the Open Parliament Interfaction Group and the Open Parliament Working Group who planned this great event. Over the past 2 days, something remarkable has happened here. Parliamentarians and civil society leaders from, we heard, about 32 countries came together to discuss how you can make the legislative process more open, more accountable to citizens, and more interactive. And I hope through those discussions that you've inspired one another and that you will take back what's come up here and what you've learned here and what you've shared here to your respective countries, and where you will then be the drivers of change. In today's interconnected world, citizens are not just asking for their voices to be heard in the legislative process, they're demanding it. And as a result, parliaments around the world are striving to become more innovative and find new ways to connect with their citizens, with their constituents. And Georgia, again, is a great example. A few months ago, Georgia set up the Open Parliament Interfaction Group and the Open Parliament Working Group. It was a committed group of members of parliament and civil society leaders here, and they developed the country's first Open Parliament Action Plan. And the end result of this, and I'm sure you've already heard, but is 18 concrete commitments aimed at enhancing the Georgian Parliament's responsiveness to its public. And this plan includes new electronic tools so that citizens can comment on draft legislation or submit their own proposals, the proactive disclosure of annual reports and findings of parliamentary committees, and improved access for ordinary citizens to parliamentary sessions, just to name a few. As one of this country's largest providers of democracy and governance assistance, the United States will play its part in supporting Georgia to bring these commitments to life. Open Parliament and open government action plans in Georgia and elsewhere represent an important priority for the United States and an alignment of our foreign assistance priorities with host government priorities. These are concrete, action-oriented, and uphold the principles of good governance, which we know are really the underpinnings of any successful society. In the United States, we are also taking steps to advance legislative openness. This past May, the U.S. House of Representatives held its 4th annual Legislative Data and Transparency Conference, where a number of new initiatives were announced. And in the House, for example, they're moving to stream video on YouTube, which would allow multiple hearings to be streamed simultaneously. And the clerk's office will also start publishing more information for the public about members of Congress and making that available. They also have a website, congress.gov, which is being updated so that our citizens can track draft legislation and see how the budget appropriations in our Congress change over time. So while we may not always move as fast as Georgia, when it comes to reforms, we're also trying to do our part. So once again, thank you to Speaker Usupashvili and Georgian hosts who never fail to demonstrate the legendary hospitality and warmth of this country. And also thank you to all of you, many of whom traveled quite far to come here to Tbilisi to participate in this conference. And we certainly hope that it was worth your while and that you will go home inspired and renewed as you take up your important legislative duties in your respective countries. So thank you very much. Didi Madlaba in Georgian. Bye-bye.